So you want to get a great score on the Duolingo English test, but the identify the idea questions are giving you trouble. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can push those troubles aside and get the best score possible in identify the idea. So let's get started. Hello, I'm Francis from Last Minute English. Today we're looking at the identify the idea questions from the Duolingo English test. In this video, I'll explain what those questions are, I'll give you some preparation tips, and we'll do some practice questions together. So what exactly are the identify the idea questions? Well, first of all, they're part of the interactive reading section. And that's a section where you have between 7 to 8 minutes and you answer 6 different types of questions, and most of them are around the same passage. And identify the idea is one of those 6 question types. So in this question type, you'll see 2 things on the screen. On the left of your screen, you'll see the passage, and you have to read that passage carefully. And on the right is a list of ideas or statements. You have to choose which of the ideas is the best summary of the passage on the left. So it's a simple idea for the question, but it's pretty difficult when the clock is ticking and you have all of those other interactive reading questions to answer as well. So let's look at some tips for how you can get the best score possible. So first tip, don't get too worried if there are certain words in the passage that you don't understand. The little details are not too important. What's more important is understanding the main idea of the passage. That's called in English getting the gist. The gist is the main idea. So if you can get the gist of the passage, that's the most important thing. My second tip is about trick answers. So very often the ideas on the right will seem quite reasonable and they might put in some key words that you can find in the passage, but they'll try to trick you because they'll focus too carefully on just one part of the passage. And remember, we're not looking for just one part of the passage. We're looking for the idea that summarizes the whole passage, the big idea. The next tip is to eliminate the options. Eliminate means get rid of them. And one way that you can get rid is if you notice that they've tried to sneak in a word that means the opposite of the actual meaning. We might see one of those a little bit later in today's video, but watch out for those words. For example, if something is very, very big, and then in the sentence it says, and this is a tiny thing, well, it's the opposite meaning. Very often they'll put those opposite meanings in, but all of the rest of the sentence will make sense. So you have to read each of the ideas very carefully. And my final tip is an obvious one, but it's important. Practice is key. You've got to keep practicing these. The more that you can practice these identify the idea questions, the more comfortable you will be when you take the real Duolingo English test. So now we know what the identify the idea questions are, what they look like. We've got some tips for how to answer them as well as possible. What's left? We have to do some practice. We're going to do 3 practice questions. So this is going to be pretty difficult, but remember, practice makes perfect. Now for each question, I'm going to give you 80 seconds. I'm going to give you a passage and some ideas, and like in the real test, you have to choose which idea best represents the passage. We've chosen 80 seconds because that's about how much time you would have in the real test. There is a little difference here, which is in the real test, you would have already seen this passage in some of the other questions. Here, you're seeing the passage for the first time, but it's always better if you're going to run a 5K race, train for 10K. So train harder than the real thing, then the real thing seems easy. So that's what we're doing in today's video. So when you get your passage, here is the order of things that I want you to do. First, read the passage. Don't look at the ideas, the options yet. Read the passage carefully, then try to summarize the idea of the passage in your own words. Then look over to the ideas, see if you can eliminate the ideas that clearly don't make sense, and you might be left with maybe 2 ideas that are pretty close, and then you have to focus very carefully on those and try to choose the best one. And remember, it's about the big picture, the big idea, not the little details. So we're going to start with our first practice question. It's going to be hard, all right? This was hard even for me, but the harder we practice, the easier the real test will be. You'll see 80 seconds, and after that, we'll go through and look at the answers together, okay? Here we go. Okay, so welcome back. How was that one? Reading all about the brain. I think that was probably pretty difficult, but that's why we do these hard questions. We want you to be totally ready for the DET. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future DET preparation videos. So, which answer was correct? A, B, or C? The correct answer was A. The human brain is a complex and adaptable organ responsible for various functions. This one gives the big picture about what the brain does, so that's why it's correct. Option B was pretty close, but it used that word primarily. That means that something is the first or main thing. So this was the primary function. It primarily is in charge of movement. So it's true that the brain does control movement, but it has many different roles. So using that word primarily made it a little bit different to what the passage was really saying. And then C is incorrect because it says that neurons are transmitted through electrical signals only. And that word only is the crucial word here because it's electrical and chemical signals, 2 different types. So if we use that word only, it means it's incorrect because the passage mentions 2 and the idea is only mentioning 1. And words like only and also words like primarily, these words that are quite strong and they mean that it's just one thing, those are words that you have to be careful of. So that was the first question. Let's move to question 2. This time it's going to be about climate change. So again, I'm going to give you 80 seconds. Again, it's pretty hard, so good luck. Choose what you think is the best answer. Have a try now. Okay, welcome back. So, which one did you get for this? The correct answer was B. Climate change is a serious problem caused by human actions that necessitates global action. And let's take a look at the two incorrect answers, because that's how we can really learn which ones are correct and which ones are wrong and why. So answer A said climate change is a natural phenomenon. That's the opposite of what the passage says, because the passage says it's caused by humans. And it says with minimal impact. And again, that's the opposite of the passage. The passage is saying it has a lot of impact. That's one of those opposite words that I warned you about earlier. So minimal means very little, but really the passage is saying it's a lot. So A is definitely wrong. And then let's look at C. C says climate change is primarily caused by rising sea levels and extreme weather events. So rising sea levels, extreme weather events, are they the causes of climate change? No, it's the opposite, right? They are the result. They are the consequence. So it's tried to put in some words that we recognize and we say, aha, yes, rising sea levels. Yes, that's right. Oh, extreme weather. Yes, that's right. But it's not saying that they are the result. It's saying they are the cause. So we have to read all of the idea very carefully. That's how they're trying to trick you. They put in those words that you recognize and they try to make you choose that answer. So we've done two. Let's do the final practice. This one is all about AI. So it's three very difficult topics. Again, we're practicing hard so that the exam is easy. Again, 80 seconds. Your time starts now. Okay, welcome back. So, was the AI question any easier than the brain and climate change? Probably not, right? They're all very difficult. Which answer did you get? The correct answer was A. So, AI is a revolutionary technology with both benefits and potential drawbacks. So it has good points and it has bad points. So that is the best summary of what the passage is talking about. And let's look at the two incorrect ones. So B said AI is primarily used for visual perception and speech recognition. Again, they've put in some of those words that you can notice. You go, ah, yeah, that word is in the passage. But they've also used that tricky word, primarily. So they are some of the functions of AI. They're some of the functions, but they're not maybe the main functions. There are many different functions. So B is incorrect. And then C says AI will inevitably lead to widespread job displacement. That means lots of people losing their jobs or their jobs being moved to different places. The key word here, inevitably. That's another one of those strong words, and it means something must happen. There is no chance that it won't happen. And that's a word that you have to be careful of, because the passage says that there might be, yes, these things might happen, but it doesn't say they definitely will happen. So the idea doesn't match what's said in the passage. So those are our 3 practice questions. I really want to know how many you got right. So make sure to let me know your score here in the comments. You can also get our free PDF from this video. It's got everything that we covered in today's video, so it's great for reviewing and getting ready for the exam. It's for free. The link is here under the video. Also, make sure to like and subscribe if you found this video useful. I'm Francis from Last Minute English. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.